Hello, Canned here, CC for short, and today I would like to talk to you about analysts.
Chariot? That's kind of a weird name for a horse, isn't it?
Why is that?
It's like, hey, who's pulling the chariot? It's Chariot. Oh my god, why am I analyzing this show?
Or, to be exact, are we ruining our own fun? Before I really begin, let me give something of a side note. This has been a topic that I've had on my mind for quite some time, but have been afraid to discuss. I've been worried that my thoughts would come off as disrespectful or even confrontational, which is honestly the last thing that I want. Whether you, dear listener, are a fan or a reviewer yourself, I am in no way saying that anyone need to change the way they watch or review episodes, nor am I saying there is a set right and wrong way to do so. Like the majority of my videos, I am just here to offer up my own opinion, as well as a possible alternate way of thinking. So all I ask is that you hear me out. And, with that disclaimer said, let's begin. A few weeks ago, I got to be a part of Biter's CBD series, along with Looney Turtle, BPM, and Lord of Dust. The discussion was over testing 1, 2, 3, and I found myself outnumbered as the sole person in the chat who enjoyed the episode. With all respect to my colleagues, I did understand their misgivings, but throughout the discussion, I kept wondering to myself why they were of such big importance to them that they took away from the enjoyment of the episode, while, at least to me, testing seemed like one of the best of this season. The question stuck with me until Biter gave a rather clever analogy that I'm not about to bastardize and trying to repeat perfectly. In essence, Biter said that he had gone into the episode expecting a full meal, but came away with only popcorn. A tasty snack, but in no way filling or satisfying. And that was when I believe I understood why so often I found myself loving episodes that so much the fandom disliked. I was never going into an episode expecting a meal. I only ever expected popcorn, meaning that, more often than not, I stood to be pleasantly surprised when something greater was set before me. And I am going to suggest that this is a mindset that would serve others well. Our community is lucky enough to have a plethora of reviewers out there, meaning that no matter how you want to watch your episodes or in whatever style, there's probably a reviewer out there for you. But as great as this is, having so many different viewpoints and so many different opinions also comes with the downside of hearing all of the things an episode does wrong. Continuity errors, failed leaps of logic, misconstrued morals, out-of-character moments, so on and so forth. Now, exactly how accurate or important these arguments are is always going to change based upon the person reviewing the episode and the person watching it. For example, while some find Pinky's actions in Philly Vanilli appalling, I still defend her as being completely in character. And that's an opinion that's only as correct as the person listening to it decides that it is. But when you do hear so many people pointing out so many flaws about the same episode, it can affect your enjoyment. I have to admit, after 90 minutes of being the only person in the chat defending testing, I soon found I was no longer enjoying the episode in the same light I had at the start. Of course, that did change back after a few re-watchings of the episode, and a couple hours of reassuring myself that, like the Pope, I and my opinions are completely infallible. But moving back to Biter's rather impressive analogy, I do have to ask if we as a collective fan base are asking too much of the show and are expecting too much in return. It is true that MLP has given us some incredible moments in both story and character growth, and proven that you do not need to be a deep, dramatic, sprawling, epic cartoon like Avatar to have your characters change, mature, age, and remember their past. However, I fear that too many people are expecting this of every episode. That after being pleasantly surprised by what the show's early seasons have given us, we somehow should expect that each time. That each episode should grow our characters. That each story should be a sprawling epic. There doesn't seem to be any room left for silly fun. Which are what episodes like Power Ponies, Three's a Crowd, or For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, yes, it's toils, are. Stupid, silly fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. As great and intelligent as MLP has been for a kid's show, it is still a kid's show. We as the older fans are just lucky enough to have a writing staff that's willing to let us be in on it. This isn't Avatar or Young Justice or Teen Titans. This is not a show that was meant for an older demographic but could still be viewed safely by children. And I fear that somewhere along the lines, that has been forgotten. Or, if not forgotten, then maybe misconstrued. Let me turn the question to you, dear listener. Whether you happen to be a reviewer or a fan, how do you go into an episode for the first time? Do you sit down with pen and paper in proverbial or literal hand, ready to analyze and measure everything you see? Or are you more like me, and sit down without expectations and with your brain turned off, hoping to just be entertained by what is put before you? If you are one of the former, then maybe try changing your approach. For the next new episode you see, don't sit down as a reviewer. Don't seek to analyze and deconstruct what you're seeing. Not on the first viewing, anyway. By all means, go back in again after with a fine-tooth comb. But just for that first time, watch it with your filters turned off. Just see if the episode entertains you on that level. See if you are able to have a little more fun with it. Again, what I'm saying is only a suggestion. I'm not saying that my way will magically fix any misgivings a person has about an episode or even the season in general. And I'm also not blind to the fact that I am not an episode reviewer myself, at least not an active one. So maybe I do not have the same room to talk as some. But as I stated in the beginning, I'm only here to offer possible alternative ways of thinking. When you get right down to it, what I want is for this fandom to have fun. There's no need to stop reviewing or debating, analyzing or deconstructing. Hell, I am a firm believer in the idea that the more you love something, the more right you have to criticize it. What I'm just asking is to cut the show and its creators a little slack every now and then. To not get upset over moments where a character seems to go a little OOC when the events are obviously meant to be for humor. To spend less time pointing out how events don't work and instead focus on how they can. To not go into an episode expecting a fine meal, only to be unhappy when presented popcorn. All I'm saying is, let's have fun, guys. Maybe we shouldn't be taking these talking pastel ponies so seriously. Thank you very much for watching. Please post your own thoughts in the comments below. And, as always,
stay pony, my friends.